Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. We are the Seance Sisters. I'm Shan.
I'm Alice.
I'm Shanice. As you can see from the title of our video, we're going to be talking to you about our tips today for beginner witches.
So just a disclaimer for everyone, these are just tips based on our experiences and opinions, so don't feel like you have to be pressured to follow them.
Exactly. So first tip we've got today is just lifestyle isn't for everybody, okay? If you kind of want to do whatever you want in it and kind of just do what you can, absolutely fine. Even just having an interest in it as well is absolutely fine as well. You know, it can be a little bit intense, it can be very kind of dedicated to your craft. So if it's something that you kind of start with and then kind of realise maybe it's not for me, it's absolutely fine. It doesn't matter at all.
If you want to learn something, the best thing to do is read. Reading up on stuff is the best way to learn. Sometimes even just writing down what you've read can help as well, because it goes in like twice as much.
Yeah, exactly. You know, in the beginning, just read as much as you can when you can, basically. You know, reading is knowledge. I've got my notes here. I write stuff down all the time just because my memory is absolutely terrible, so it's the best thing to do.
Yeah. Also, I'd say to learn sort of the white side of magic, you also need to know like black as well. So there is kind of a balance that you need to like understand.
Yeah.
Obviously,
everything's not just one way.
No, yeah.
That's the thing, kind of with white and black magic, you know, if you are kind of concerned or worried about it, it's best to understand it, and then instead of just being like, I'm just going to stick to the white side. You know, you kind of need to understand that things fit together, kind of like yin and yang. It just makes things so much better, kind of, if you understand why people do the things that they do, so that you can do the things that you do as well.
Yeah, and it's also a case of, if you do a spell and you're not too clued up about it, you can be unintentionally doing like a darker side of magic.
Yeah,
So it's best to understand, really.
Yeah.
I'd say as well with things, you don't need to put a label on what you want to do straight away. That's kind of where you're just pushing yourself to try and do something that you don't know is right for you straight away. Everything takes time, and that's okay. Like, it's okay to have as much time as you need to know what is best for you.
That's the thing, and kind of like when we kind of use the kind of names like, say, eclectic witch, green witch, sea witch, that kind of thing, it's kind of just a lingo in the witch community to kind of, for other witches to kind of understand what kind of craft you do. So if I was to say I was a sea witch and a herb witch, it would let, say, Alice and Shanice know that I mainly work with herbs and kind of the weather and the water and the ocean, that kinds of things. So you don't have to stick predominantly to one kind of genre, just kind of as you time and kind of as you go, you'll kind of understand and kind of know kind of where your direction is going. So it will also take time to build your craft and your knowledge as well. You know, it's not going to happen overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day. You know, there's people who've been doing this for years and years and years, and they still don't know everything. You know, it's one of those things where you kind of can't know everything because it's always changing. It's always down to kind of your own personal preference as well.
That would be a lot to take in at once.
Yeah, it's an information overload. I was one of those people in the beginning when I first started out. I wanted to know everything at the kind of the click of a button, basically. And obviously that isn't possible. You know, this is hundreds of thousands of years of history and knowledge that have kind of been passed down. So, you know, you're not going to be able to know everything overnight, and that is fine. You know, it may be frustrating because you feel like you're not at the right level, but it's okay. You'll be fine.
Yeah, because I think at the same time, like when you are starting out, you feel like you have to be good at it straight away. And obviously that can like...
I am amazing!
You can like get anxiety around the subject, and that will affect your spell work, you know? So you just gotta like take it like baby steps, you know, like little things at a time, like that you're comfortable with is really, really important. You need to have realistic goals for doing spell work. So it's not like the movies, it's not like TV, it's not like Netflix.
As much as I love Charmed, it's not like Charmed.
It's not like that.
The Dark Lord did not choose us.
Yeah, he will not be bursting through that door, coming to let us fulfill our duties. No.
It's one of those things, like, if you say to yourself, okay, I want to do a spell for fortune and money and like attracting money into my life. Some people will be like, I'm going to do a spell. I want to be a millionaire. It's like, come on now.
That's the thing, kind of keeping to realistic expectations. You know, you can't wish for a car and then a car is going to appear on your driveway.
No,
It's not going to work. You know, it has to be achievable goals. Kind of the way kind of witchcraft is described is that you're kind of just helping improve your life instead of just making things appear out of thin air, basically. You know, that's kind of what it does.
Things to note is like that Wiccan and witchcraft and like paganism, it's not all the same. It's completely different.
So kind of Wicca itself is a religion in itself. So you don't have to be Wiccan to be a witch. It's absolutely fine. And obviously paganism is kind of like a generalized kind of branch of things as well. So I don't see myself as a Wiccan. I see myself purely kind of as a witch. Learn what works for you. You know, don't rely on everything on the internet because it can't always be accurate. And again, kind of don't rely on the opinions of other people as well. Everybody has their own kind of opinion when it comes to witchcraft. So what works for them may not work for you. If you want to kind of learn more information, is kind of cross-reference it as well. So if you've read something online, see if you can find it in one of your spell books, see if it kind of checks out as well, and then kind of also ask other people that you know and trust around you as well.
Before doing something, you want to understand like the reasoning behind it. So if you do a spell, you kind of want to know your background knowledge, just in case something does go wrong. Sometimes it does happen and you have a little bit of a boo-boo and you're like, oh God, what am I going to do? If you have a full understanding of what it is you're actually doing, you can reverse it and you know how to put the protection in place to stop those things from happening. So like Shan said with reading, and you said as well, look things up, read a book, have a look on the internet, have a look on some forums on Facebook. There's loads of different avenues that you can ask, but just make sure you understand what you're doing, because obviously there is a risk whenever you do something.
So the next thing to note is witchcraft doesn't need to be an expensive thing at all. I think people will get into their mind that it is expensive, because you see people on Instagram who have all this fancy nice stuff, which is just kind of a show front.
It's just people like to covet, don't they? They're like, I've got to have all these things. It's like, no, that's not what witchcraft is about.
And that's the thing, kind of, you kind of accumulate all these things in the beginning, and because, you know, it's kind of exciting and it's new, but then your path may change down the line and you may not use half the stuff that you've got, you know? So I would just say kind of like what Alice has been doing, kind of using what you've got around you in the beginning so that you kind of understand what you're doing. To then be able to kind of get everything else. And then if you do find down the line that, you know, you want to buy a cauldron, or if you want to buy kind of more advanced things, you can go ahead and do it. Just don't spend half your life savings on doing it, you know?
You don't need to buy every single herb that exists.
No. Like my mother does. Shout out to my mum.
You know what I mean? Like, you can grow these things, like, and that is natural magic, growing something, putting love into it. And you've said to me before about foraging, going out, picking berries, using them in your spells. And
that's the thing.
I'll just be out somewhere and I'm like, I'm gonna have that.
That's the thing, you know, back in the day, you know, back before we had technology and everything like that, that was what we used to do, you know. You used to go foraging for your herbs and your medicines, and obviously herbal medicine is literally just going out into the woods and picking some leaves, putting them in a pot of water and making it work, you know. So it doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg to do this kind of stuff, you know. So just kind of take your time with it. Don't try and get involved all in the beginning at first. Kind of just see what you need in the beginning and then kind of just go from there, basically. Next tip that we have is kind of about intent and manifestation. To me personally, that is the most powerful thing that you can have. If you're about to do anything, kind of any decision making when it comes to witchcraft, so whether you're kind of wanting to do a spell, or if you're kind of wanting to know any more information, or kind of go anywhere or do anything, just do a little bit of divination, or kind of see what your kind of intuition is like as well. Just because if it doesn't feel right, just don't do it. Especially if it's like a spell or things like that. Usually I'll kind of get my tarot cards out and kind of see what they're saying. I've kind of learned to trust my intuition and kind of trust to my divination a little bit more recently. And I've kind of seen that it has been on point with things. So I feel personally, if I get a bad feeling about something, I tend not to do it. So that's kind of one of the tips that I have as well.
It's okay to repeat and change spells. If you find something doesn't work for you the first time, try it again. Maybe use different herbs, or use a different crystal or a different candle, you know. Change your words up a little bit. you know, it's okay to repeat things. Like, it's not going to do any harm. Well, most times.
I feel like sometimes when like I read something, if I'm trying to do like something specific, I feel like I have to follow it step by step.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably not the case.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can change that up a bit.
Yeah.
And see what works best.
I've done it many times with spells, you know. I've kind of, if I found a spell that I kind of like, if there's something that I kind of don't agree with or I need to kind of substitute something, I'll just change it to cater to me more. And then obviously if it doesn't work the first time, just try it again and see if it does work. Sometimes they don't work first time round and it's fine. It's absolutely okay.
The next thing I'd like to say is just if you're looking for deities, don't rush it.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know, you don't have to do spell work with deities, you know, you can do it without, it's absolutely fine. It can sometimes take time for the deities to kind of come to you or you kind of find them, so don't go rushing into it thinking I need to find a god or a goddess to worship, because it's not the case. You don't need no, that's the thing. I've kind of only just found one of my main deities that I like to work with, so it doesn't have to be right away, you know, kind of take time, kind of get to learn the gods and the goddesses and kind of what they represent and what they do.
It's like with me, I've been doing it for a long time and I haven't exactly chosen a deity which I really resonate with and I, you know, worship constantly. I like to work with lots of different gods and goddesses.
You don't have to choose one specific one, there's a bunch of them out there, you know, you can kind of choose whichever ones kind of connect with you, so don't feel like, oh, I need to do this one because they're associated with paganism. You don't need to do that, you can choose whichever ones you want as long as they resonate to you and you know how to work with them. Next one we're going to speak about is kind of about the witchcraft community. Sometimes not everybody is going to agree with what you're doing, kind of how you're doing things, and sometimes people aren't going to be your friends. It is okay. Yeah, so we kind of see this online sometimes, you know, you kind of have a little bit of a battle sometimes with witches and kind of who is saying things the right way and kind of who's doing what the correct way. It's all down to interpretation, okay? There is no rule book for how to do things in witchcraft. You do what feels right to you. If you want to change it, you can change it. It's absolutely fine. Again, some people might not agree with you, but that's just the way it's going to be,
and people probably won't agree with us saying that.
Yeah. It can be. That's
okay. That's their own.
That's the thing. It can. It can be a touchy subject, you know. But at the end of the day, it's kind of the truth on things. You know, we all come from different paths and lifestyles. The way I was taught and the way I taught myself, it could be completely different to how Alice is teaching herself and the things she believes in, as opposed to say the things that Shanice believes in as well. You know, so we may have contradicting opinions sometimes, but it's our own journeys. It's our own paths.
I think like the whole thing about paganism as a whole is like love and nurturing growth. I think people really lose sight of that and can be quite judgmental, so just be kind to one another.
Exactly. There's no witch badge. You don't get a witch badge, okay? You know, there's no rankings in just kind of knowing what you know, okay? You know, everybody, we're all just humans at the end of the day, you know, so just love one another, just be at peace with one another, you know, that's kind of all we want you guys to be doing, basically.
Don't panic. So over time, your craft and your beliefs change. They really do. And don't feel like just because you've accepted something into your life, like a sea witch or, you know, like a garden witch or a herb witch, don't feel like that is just the lineage you're going to go down. There's so many like different routes. Like I when I was younger, I was set on the fact that I was, God, what even was I when I first started? I can't even remember. I think it was a moon witch. I was like, I love the moon.
The moon! The moon! The moon!
I love the moon. And I was literally focused on that to the point where I was kind of stopping myself from elaborating on my craft, and that was limiting myself. So I feel like
try everything first.
And people can gain things from every different avenue, so why not try it? Don't limit yourself, you know.
And that's the thing, that's kind of what we were kind of connecting with earlier about kind of not labeling yourself so far, because as you change and as you grow, your opinions may change on different things. You know, you may start out, like as Shanice said, liking one kind of route of witchcraft, but then as you get older and kind of as you experience more things, you may think, actually I kind of like a route that's a little bit different to this, and it's okay. You know, you have a brain for a reason. You can change your opinions and kind of change what you do. It's absolutely fine, you know. It's nobody's going to tell you off. It's fine, you know. I'm definitely not where I used to be kind of even maybe 6 months ago. You know, I've changed a lot as a witch and kind of what I believe in and what I stand for. Don't panic, okay? You know, your opinions will change as you grow, and it is fine.
The best thing to do with that is just starting small. Don't rush it. Starting small is the best thing to do. You just don't want to do what kind of doesn't make you feel ready for, because then you're not going to be putting your all into it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you don't kind of want to go in starting off with massive, intricate kind of spells, because they will not work. You know, you need to have your knowledge and kind of your intent behind you first. So just start off with really small, simple things and kind of build your way up until you are comfortable in doing it.
I felt like when I was very, very at the beginning of my craft, I worked a lot with candle magic because it was a very simple process.
Yeah.
Simple.
And it's really easy to learn.
I
But,
agree with that.
you know, and I
That's
think
probably, I think, the first thing I ever did.
Yeah.
Candle magic is a really, really good place to start, you know. And also, I'd also say that always try and make time for your own craft. So it is a part, like, once you've accepted that part of your life into your life, you say, okay, this is something I want to work towards and grow and figure out what I'm doing, you know. You need to make time for it, because if you let it, like any, like, imagine like a hobby or like a sport. If you do it all the time, you're going to get better and better at it.
Yeah.
Your divination's going to be on point. You
Yeah.
know, you're going to straight away be able to zone into that sort of wavelength. But if you leave it longer and longer,
The less likely you are to go back to it.
yeah, and I feel like people do get rusty, you know, just don't feel as flowy and...
Yeah, I think it's kind of like being disconnected as well. Like, I've experienced it recently where kind of I've just had so much on my mind that I just haven't really been connecting with my witchcraft. And then I went away a couple of weekends ago and kind of really was able to reconnect with nature and myself and kind of realize why I do this and why this is my journey. So yeah, it can be really difficult sometimes, especially in kind of the busy world of today and kind of with everything that's going on at the moment. But even just taking, say, like an hour out of your day just to kind of do something simple, either whether
meditate.
it's meditate.
Doesn't even have to even be an hour. Sometimes you can just do stuff with like your morning coffee.
Exactly, just something just really simple just to keep you just into it and kind of connected to it, you know. Simple things like just reading online, making magic with your coffee. You could kind of just write some stuff up in your book of shadows, just anything simple. It doesn't have to be sitting out under the moon and kind of doing all these intricate spells. If you don't have time for it, it's fine, but just
having a shower bath.
Just
make it a sensible ritual.
Exactly. And that's
definitely.
kind of all we've got today. I mean, the main thing that we have is just to have fun with it as well. This is such an amazing journey to be on, and I feel so kind of like enlightened and just so liberated now that I'm on this journey, and just having fun with it helps so much, you know. It's not a chore, it's not a task, it's your life, you know. It's a process.
Chore, no one would want to do it.
No, exactly. You know, just have fun with it and just accept it and just do what feels right with you. So I hope you guys have liked this video. If you do, leave us a like, comment, and please subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.